Shalom and welcome again. It's been a while, isn't it, since the last video that I did. High Holy Days sneaked up on us and we were all very busy. And then I have to admit, a sense of lethargy and anxiety, even maybe anxiety bordering on depression set in. And it's funny how the things that we just love to do, that all of a sudden we put off until tomorrow. Getting up early and praying, going through with the tefillin and the Amidah and the Shema and all these things. Maybe do shortened version, maybe I'll just do it tomorrow. And so the reason that there hasn't been an awful lot is, I must be honest, a sense of anxiety and depression. And the problem with that sort of thing is that if you can understand where it's coming from, or why it is, what are you anxious about? What am I getting depressed about, being anxious about? And if it sort of doesn't seem to be anything concrete that you can immediately put a finger on, it's just sort of like a vicious cycle. It adds to the anxiety because you think, well, why am I feeling like this? There's no particular reason. And as usual, I thought, well, it's just me. I'm out there on my own with this. But having a chat yesterday with a good friend, they were also going through much the same emotional problems. And so, in the background, somebody said, yeah, I've been feeling a little bit like that too. It must be something in the air. Well, that's a common saying, isn't it? Something in the air. And I think we shrug that off of the, yeah, can't be, can it? But seriously, I think we need to have a look at that concept in a little bit more depth. Something in the air. Is it something in the atmosphere? Is it some energy and some power which is wanting to do us harm, or at least wanted to slow down and feel tired and anxious and lethargic? And if so, where does it come from? I mean, the fact that you won't be able to see that, it's a spiritual entity, would fit in with my feelings of thinking, well, why is this? Where is it coming from? I can't see it, touch it, or necessarily explain it. And so we need to maybe have a look at the Hasidic idea of the Yetzer Hara, this inclination that we have to do not always evil, but the wrong things. That it's out there to keep us from praying, maybe. And in this most serious formation, it might be even they're tempting us to do some harm to somebody, to steal or do something really wrong. It doesn't have our best intentions at heart, and actually probably seeks to destroy us, or at least to keep us away from what Hashem wants us to do. Where does that come from? Well, Hasidism explains that it is an energy released from ungodly nations. And looking around, there's no shortage of them, is there? I mean, if we look a little bit closer to home, the ungodliness into our own nation, or if you're watching from abroad, have a look at some of the ungodliness in your nation. We've seen some crazy things happening. You've only got to look at our leadership and what they've been up to in the last week or so. It's not good. And so I could see that there is this well of evilness, badness, immorality, people being greedy, egos being inflated. And so the energy that can be produced by all of that is not a small thing. It's quite capable of filling our lives. And the problem is, as I said, we can't see it, so we don't know it's there, but we can certainly feel the effects. But having considered that and renewed my association with the Yetzer Hara, maybe I can understand a little bit. I'm sure that's only one in many things that can cause anxiety and depression. And perhaps we can get onto some of those ideas in future weeks. But let me concentrate on that one today. This intensity of feeling anxious. And one of the things I've noticed is that the areas that all this ungodliness energizes are ones perhaps to keep you busy, are ones perhaps to draw you away from the purpose that Hashem has for you in this world. Now we know from previous discussions that we are not needy, necessarily, but we're needed us for many reasons, which we won't go into today. That Hashem actually needs us to do what he has called us to do the mitzvahs, certainly, but there are areas that we can make the world a better place and leave an imprint on the world. And I found that I think I know what that is. It's something which makes your heart jump for joy. You enjoy doing it. It's never a toil or a bind. It can be difficult sometimes and challenging. But if you are dragged away from that purpose, then I've worked out maybe that this feeling of anxiety and lethargy and depression is actually a good thing, because it does stop you in your tracks. It keeps me away from doing these videos for a while and gets me involved in all sorts of other things which seem to be very helpful and maybe even godly at the time, but they are helpful and godly for somebody else. And so me doing them maybe takes away the chance for somebody else to do them as well. And it's certainly not doing me any good, because actually Hashem says, look, I need to slow you down a little bit here. I need to give you some time to sit back and think. And just reinforce for me and for you as well, what is God's purpose for us, for you in this world? He needs us to be doing certain things to make this world a better place. What is it? And it's worth just sitting back and meditating on that and actually remembering. They say that if you find a thought captivating, if something crosses your path and you think, yeah, I like that, then take it captive. Allow it to fill you, study it. It's like a sponge, soak it up until the sponge is full. Once the sponge is full and it starts oozing, then you can teach others and help others. And maybe move on to something else that Hashem has got for you to do. But I think it's so important that we do take some time to sit back and just think of the past and think, what is it? What is my purpose in life? Why am I here? How can I make a difference? What are my talents? What are the things I'm good at? What are the things that I find captivating and want to study and find great pleasure in doing that I'm actually not doing now, or at least not actually using all that knowledge and studying to help somebody else? But am I involved in something else which is not for me to do? It's worth thinking about. Rabbi Abraham Joshua Twersky, a blessed memory, has some other very good ideas on what causes anxiety and depression, having been a psychiatrist and a rabbi for many, many, many years and written 80 books on the subject. And he puts it all down to the basics of self-esteem. A low self-esteem can cause these things. I think that's important too, but I don't think it's probably the only reason. So next time, I actually want to have a look at his views on self-esteem and see how that fits in to the type of anxiety that the Yetzer Hara can create in our lives. If you can help at all in giving your story or some of your thoughts on this, have you been affected by this thing that's floating around in the air, then there is a comment section underneath the video, so please fill in some comments there, and we can talk through them and have a look at them in future videos. So until then, good luck in actually sitting down. Take some quiet time, sit in a quiet place, take all the distractions away from yourself, and really just reinforce what it is that Hashem wants you to do. What direction does he want you to take? How can you best use your talents and your enthusiasm and all your energy to make this world a better place? Until next time, Shalom Aleichem.